Hi everybody, it's Robbie and today I'm in my kitchen. Actually what I was doing was I was cleaning up my kitchen and I thought, you know what, I'm going to turn on the cameras and I'm going to tell you how I cook and why I cook, and then we'll get into cooking another time. I have always cooked. I love to cook. Cooking is one of my favorite things because I never know what I'm going to make and I never know what I'm going to find and I never know how it's going to turn out. Knock on wood, it usually does turn out really good. I cook from scratch, but I also do shortcuts. Now shortcuts would be, let's say you're going to make cookies, you can use a cake mix. Now, not all cake mixes are created equal. This one's okay, it's one of the cheaper ones. It's about $2. This is a yellow cake mix. And then you can get something like this. This is another brand, a little more money. And then you can get another one like this one. That's around the same price as this one. They're all a little different. Once you start to analyze what is in there, you can start coming up with all kinds of things. So you're saying, why would you use that and not go straight to flour? Which I do. I do a lot of cooking from scratch. I could do breads and rolls and all kinds of stuff. And I want to talk about that in a minute because everything I cook right now is gluten-free. It's absolutely gluten-free. There is no wheat. There is no rye or barley in anything I cook, and we'll be right back on that. Now, why would I use a yellow cake mix, let's say, to make ginger cookies, which I'm going to make later today, instead of making it from flour? Well, a bag of gluten-free flour, it doesn't matter if it's this one, it doesn't matter if it's this one, it doesn't matter if it's this brand, there's all different brands, are really a lot of money. You can buy a box for like $5. Some of these are $5 and $6 for flour. And then you've got to start adding in everything else to it. Now this has your xanthan gum in it, which you need for gluten-free cooking. I'll tell you something, I've done it without, it still comes out. But they always say to add xanthan gum. This is in there. When you buy gluten-free flour, it tends to be in there. It's even in this one. And they usually add that in. It's to replace the gluten that you're not using or finding in regular wheat. The cake mixes already have it, so I don't have to buy it. I've never had to buy it. I'm probably going to buy it just to have soon. Instead of spending $6, $7 for flour, I've got a cake mix like this one's about $2. Let's see, this one is about $4. And then you get into some of the other ones that can be $5 and up. So if you're on a budget, you could go with the cheaper one. And then you can start to add in what you want. This is the way I have to analyze it. This particular brand, which is absolutely fine for me to make cookies from, has citric acid in it. Start reading your labels before you do things. And that's something I had to do, which I didn't do on this, really. And when I made my ginger cookies, they were okay, but I could taste, I have a very sensitive palate, I could taste there was something off. And what was happening was the citric acid that they put in here was throwing off, to me, my ginger cookies, which Gary happened to love. Now this particular cake mix doesn't have any citric acid, so I would go with this one. You start to read the labels and you'll know what to do with them. This is what I'll take you through. So I can make a whole batch of cookies for, let's say, adding in an egg, adding in maybe butter or oil. You can make fresh cookies out of a cake mix, and it will cost you less than $4 for a big batch of cookies. Where if you had to go buy the flour, it's going to be double. It could be double the money when you start buying everything else you need. And that's what you want to think of. If you're on a budget, start going shortcuts. There's nothing wrong with a shortcut. It doesn't mean you don't know how to cook. It doesn't mean anything like that. Because all it is they put some of the work in as far as measurements for you, but then you're going to go from there and make it the way you want. That's the thing, is I never know what I'm going to make. You know, I buy a brownie mix. Where is it? This is a really good brownie mix. And then what I do is I start adding in what I like. I add in walnuts if I want it to be a little fudgier. I can add in more cocoa. I can add in a little bit of instant pudding. I can add in syrup, chocolate syrup. There's a syrup I like that has only 5 ingredients. There's no chemicals in it. You can start to kind of play around with what you like and what you want to do with it and what you want the outcome to be. Now let me explain real quick why we're gluten-free. You probably, if you've been with us a while, might have seen the nightmare. I called it the nightmare of the wood chips. How Gary started bringing in the wood chips. So what happened was, Gary and I have been married for a long time. And, this is just the way he was. He had no sense of smell. He had a lot of aches and pains. He had a lot of arthritis. He was going to the doctor. He had a lot of different issues. He had acne, like a lot of people have, and all that. But, that's just common. Then one day I was watching Dr. Oz, and he knows the exact dates. Oh my gosh, he knows the exact dates. And I listened to a doctor on there, and he went over all these different symptoms, and I thought, wow, Gary's got a lot of that. Now, didn't think much about it. I don't know if he was gluten intolerant or what, but when Gary came in, I went over it with him. I said, the doctor mentioned all this stuff, and you've got all those symptoms. Hay fever, really, really bad, and he was on daily medication and all that. So he said, he's not stubborn. That's one thing, Gary's not stubborn. He goes, you know what? He said, I'm going to get off a week for about a week or two. I'll see what happens. Well, that meant me, because I was doing the cooking, that I would have to alter the cooking. Now, I did. No issue. He said, let's go for it. I want to try it. And I said, all right. I altered his, but I didn't alter mine. So if I wanted bread, I made myself a sandwich. If I wanted a roll or croissant or whatever I might have picked up, bought, or made, I went ahead and ate what I wanted. But he cut out wheat. Straight on, completely, not one speck, because that's the only way you can test yourself. It really is supposed to be 2 weeks with no gluten type of materials, which is your wheat, your barley, and your rye. In 3 days, Gary knew right away that he was better. 3 days. His aches and pains were not as bad. He was actually walking with a cane. When I met him, he wasn't, and as the years went on, he needed a cane if we were going to go somewhere. We used to get Disney passes because, Disneyland is, it's fun. I can take the grandkids. We can walk around. The passes back then, we were buying it years ago, was like $200 a year, and we can go when we want. Well, as it went on, he needed a cane, and I had to get him a cane with a seat. So when he had to stand in line, he could sit down. He was that bad. That's how bad he was. I ended up going for knee surgery because I have both knees were swollen, probably from the arthritis and different things. So I had to go for knee surgery on one knee, and I was scheduled to go on the right knee and during all this time. So I went for one knee surgery, and then he was walking with a cane. When he gave up gluten, the first thing that started to come back was sense of smell. We had the gas company here at midnight because he told me there was a gas leak. It turned out it was jasmine blowing up the hill that he had never smelled, but they came out, they were gracious about the whole thing. They went around, checked everything, and that was the first thing he got back was his sense of smell. And then his bad aches and pains started to go away. And then he noticed he didn't need his allergy medication. Right away, he was done. He said, I don't want gluten anymore. Now, like I said, I was still eating gluten. I didn't have a problem with it, I didn't think. I was told by my doctors that I had arthritis. I had gone and said, look, my pinkies were all swollen and it was hard to, flex my hands. And they said there was nothing they could do. It was arthritis setting in. It was this swelling and it was on both hands. It was mirrored, and that's usually how it works. And so they tested it and said it was arthritis. So I, of course, was cooking for him breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He was getting everything gluten-free. And I was mixing in different things. It got to the point where it was ridiculous. I started thinking it was easier to just start making everything gluten-free, stop buying flour, don't buy bread, make my own bread, make it gluten-free so he can eat and I can eat it. And the acne, by the way, he had acne, that all disappeared. His skin cleared up beautiful, his sense of smell, he was no longer the cane. I don't even know where the cane is that I bought with the seat on it. He wasn't using the cane. I decided to go completely gluten-free as well. Needless to say, I have not gone for surgery on my right knee. My knees would swell up like a balloon, literally where I could not bend them at all. That's why I had to go for surgery on the one. And by the time when I gave up gluten, I canceled the surgery. I told them, I don't want it. I just don't want it. It was a long recovery on the one knee. And it wasn't knee replacement. It was just cleaning everything out and whatever they did. But the point is, I never went for the surgery, and I noticed my hand stopped hurting. I still, things bother me in the air, but I wasn't sneezing as bad. I didn't have as many allergies. And overall, whatever aches and pains I was having from arthritis in my body, I didn't have anymore. And like I said, my hands were the first thing I noticed. All the swelling went down on the pinky, and then the knee didn't swell up. And I thought, well, at this point, we might as well go completely gluten-free. And then what happened, and that's when Gary got into gardening. He decided, well, we're going to just start growing our own food, and he doesn't have to think about where everything's coming from. Because we went to a party once, a while back, and everything they said that we could eat was gluten-free, which it was, but it wasn't, because they enhance flavors a lot of times with different things. And the next day, my knee was swollen, my hands hurt, and it lasted for quite a few days. It can take about a week to get that out, and we realized that we do have to be careful. Now, if I eat wheat, if I get cake from somewhere, bread, is it going to knock me over? No. No, and the same thing with Gary. It's not going to be like that. But what happens is you don't feel good. So why would you want to eat something that actually makes you not feel good? If you don't feel good, then you're not as productive. You're not doing all the things you like to do. So at that point, it might be better just to cut it out. And if your body, this is our thought, I'm not telling anybody what to do. If your body is fighting you that much on what you're putting in and causing inflammation, it can't be that good. But anyways, long story short, I took everything that I was cooking and just started to transfer it, including spaghetti. You can buy spaghetti now gluten-free. It's made with rice flour, corn flour, different types of flour that don't affect my body or Gary's. All these cake mixes, there's different types of flour in them. This one's got rice flour and potato starch, which is basically a potato flour. You can actually take potato flakes that you buy and you can blend it up, turn it into a flour, and you can add that to a lot of things. That is great flour. What you're going to do is change things around. Same thing as somebody who went vegan. They can take a lot of recipes and turn it into vegan. Well, I can take pretty much anything and turn it into just simply gluten-free. Gluten-free where I can eat what I want as much as I want. And then I don't have to worry about not feeling well. Is it low calorie? Obviously not, because I haven't cut out sugar. Hard to believe I was a size 3 when I moved in here, but that was a long time ago. But the point is, you can change things around, and that's why we change things around. So what I want to do in my cooking segments, because I've had so many people screaming, do cooking. My daughter, why aren't you cooking? I cook every night. No, why aren't you putting up something about cooking, really cooking on YouTube instead of just gardening? Because I'm going to the garden, bringing things up like I did yesterday. Made something yesterday I've never made before. And she's right. Maybe I should. If you don't want to watch it, you don't have to watch it. But if you like it, well, that's good. I might give you an idea. You may not like something I did, but you might get some light bulbs going, wait a minute. I know how I can change that for me. There are so many different flours. We all have to learn the flours. This is a great flour by Red Mill, Bob's Red Mill. This is really fantastic. Here's another one. I make pizza. I make a killer pizza. It is so good. Gary was so excited the other night. I told him I was making fried chicken. I switched over to chicken. He said, switched over to pizza. And he goes, you think I'm upset about that? He doesn't care. I learned that certain flours are not good in my pizza dough. Certain flours are good in pizza dough. You'll start to figure things out as you go along. You can start looking for things on sale. If you find some cupcake mix on sale, but you don't make cupcakes, you can make cookies out of it. You can start to analyze what you can do with it. Here's something I picked up really cheap. It's not my thing. This is a vegan type of cookie mix, but you can take this cookie mix I picked up for $1, alter it to make it work for you. That's what we're going to get into. And what did I make yesterday that I never made? I'll show you in another video, but I made coleslaw, which I happen to like, but I don't have any cabbage. My cabbage is really little, so I made it out of purple tree colored and green tree colored, and I blended it in a way and put it in water, and then I put other vegetables in it, the carrots and stuff, and it came out fantastic. I have chopped it before and I didn't like it, but this time I did it a little bit different, went into a little bit different procedure, and it came out wonderful. So give me ideas on what you're looking for if you've changed and you're gluten-free and you're trying to figure out, oh, you've got a recipe you love, but you can't figure out how to do it. Maybe I can come up with an idea, maybe I can't. And follow me along on anything you want on whether it's cooking as far as dinner or cooking for desserts. I made a banana cake out of the yellow cake mix the other day. I had to. Gary pulled in from his garden like 100 bananas. Bananas. You don't go like an orange tree and pick the bananas you want like you would on an orange tree. When his bananas are ripe, you got 100 at one time. So I've been making banana cake like mad. And it's so easy. You take a cake mix like this and you mix it up the way it is if you want to make it just the way it is, which is fine. But then I take some off. I mix it in with whatever I feel like. Cocoa, syrup, chocolate syrup. I make it into a chocolate marble. I cover it in and I mash in bananas. I've tried it different ways. Gary prefers it mashed instead of blended. And then cover the top with nuts. We don't use frosting. We don't need that much, but I do make frosting at times. And the cake bakes up wonderful. And I know of how you can tweak it to make it more like a coffee cake, a little denser or lighter. There's so many things you can do with a simple cake mix. So for $2, I could make myself a banana cake by adding in other ingredients I have around here. And I don't have to go measure everything out and, actually put out more money. You do need flour to make pizza. You need flour to make your rolls. There's other things you need flour for. But if you're making cakes and if you're making dessert type things or cookies, you can use a cake mix. It's a wonderful shortcut is what it is. Shortcut because they've put most of your stuff together. You don't have to go in the cupboard and look for your baking soda and all that. Salt, everything's in there. You add in what you want. You have something fantastic. So we'll go over a lot of different things like that. I will get my pizza up soon. It is so good. I'm making myself hungry that I want to go run and make a pizza. I think it's better than any pizza you can buy, whether it's takeout, whether it's frozen. It's so good. I will promise you I'll get that up very soon. And we'll talk about why maybe this flour didn't work good in pizza, why you don't put certain ingredients in the dough, and why you do put certain ingredients. And we'll get into all that. I'm trying to figure out how to present myself in the kitchen cooking when I don't really have measured out recipes. I do keep recipes. I keep them like this is my pizza one that I keep on the fridge. This is just laminated everything I put in it so I don't forget. And then I've taken some old magnets that you get in the mail sometimes, stapled it on, and I have it right here. I've got it, when I want, and then I've got this apple cranberry cake that I make that Gary loves. Oh, it's all gluten-free. And so I like putting recipes on cards or paper and then just take those magnets. Don't throw them away. Don't throw them away. Staple them on. Make the pointed side coming towards you so it's nice and smooth. And then you can keep certain things really handy right by you. So we'll get into cooking real soon. I just wanted you to know why I haven't done it because I'm trying to figure out how can I present it. But maybe if I just turn on the cameras, say, today I went out in the yard, brought in some ginger, and we're going to make ginger cookies, and we're going to use this cake mix or this cake mix, and why we're going to use this one. And then you'll figure out from there. Cooking is easy. Let me tell you, it is one of the easiest things to do. I don't know why so many people have problems with it because it's actually really, really easy. And think about it. If you bake a cake and you're not happy with it, you don't throw it away. Crumble that thing up, press it in a pie pan, and make a pie. Use your cake as your pie crust, like you would cookies. Maybe you're going to try it out. There's so many things you could do with something that didn't come out exactly the way you wanted it. So we'll come back. We'll talk about all the things. There's so many things gluten-free. I know there's people that have said they went gluten-free. Their doctor told them they have to go gluten-free, and they feel like their life is over. You know what? I think the food tastes better. My opinion, I think it tastes better. I feel better. I have so much energy. I mean, being my age and this age, and I'm running around like a 20-year-old, if that's going to make me feel better, why would I want to eat something that's going to pull me down and drag me down? So, we'll get into stuff. You'd be surprised how much stuff is gluten-free. And that does not mean if you go gluten-free that you go to the store and buy everything that's in a box that says gluten-free. No, no, no. You want to read those labels and you want to know what's in it. Make your own cookies, make your own dessert, cook your own food, and if you're not gardening, garden a little bit. Maybe herbs would be the best thing to do. I've got herbs growing all over my kitchen window. You don't have to grow herbs in a garden. You can grow herbs in your kitchen window and make your food taste fabulous. Anyways, with that, have a wonderful day. And don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye, everybody. I thought he was going to finish the banana cake. He didn't. I'll take a piece. I told him to finish it. So good. Kitty, you want a piece of banana cake? Come on. Kitty, kitty.